Sweeping reforms could be coming to the Baltimore Police Department. The Justice Department and City of Baltimore announced an agreement on Thursday to address issues of racial targeting by the city's police force. The court-enforceable consent decree is a result of months of negotiations after a Justice Department investigation found the Baltimore Police Department disproportionately targeted African Americans for stops and arrests. CBS News Justice reporter Paula Reid is in Washington. So, Paula, how does this new agreement address the issues raised in August?
Elaine, they're going to transform this police department starting with the fundamentals. They're going to retrain officers on stops and searches. They're going to change the way that they investigate sexual assault. They're also going to retrain officers on how to interact with members of the community who may have mental health issues. This agreement also has a specific provision for how to transport prisoners. It says that the safe and effective transportation of detainees must be conducted in a manner that protects the officers, the public, and the people being transported. Now, Elaine, of course, that is a reference to the death of Freddie Gray, who suffered a spinal cord injury while in police custody. However, the officers who were transporting him were not found criminally liable for his death.
Well, Paula, the consent decree still has to be approved by a federal judge. When can we expect a judge to consider the agreement? And if approved, when will these changes be implemented?
Elaine, it'll probably take about a month for the judge to review this agreement and sign off. First, they're going to have a hearing so the public can weigh in. Of course, it's the taxpayers that pay for all of this reform. And in other cities, for example, in Ferguson, some taxpayers said this is too much, even if for a good cause, to bring our policing in line with the Constitution. The reforms themselves will then be implemented over several years. It takes a long time to change this kind of problem.
And in another case, Paula, the Justice Department is expected to release its report on the Chicago Police Department tomorrow. That investigation has been going on for 13 months. What do we know about the Justice Department's findings?
Tomorrow, when this report is unveiled, we're going to see a pattern of unconstitutional policing in the city of Chicago. At a press conference yesterday, the Attorney General alluded to the fact that there could also be an emphasis specifically on how the police department handles evidence in investigations. Now, we've seen similar reports in Ferguson and Baltimore. They're usually hundreds of pages long, and this is expected to be a very sobering account of policing in the city of Chicago.
And Paula, Senator Jeff Sessions, who would lead the Department of Justice as Attorney General if he's confirmed by the Senate, has historically expressed skepticism over the use of consent decrees. He reiterated that point during his confirmation hearing Tuesday, but also said that consent decrees are, quote, not necessarily a bad thing. Now, if he is confirmed, what do we expect Attorney General Sessions will do with the Baltimore Agreement and others like it?
Well, we don't expect this kind of reform to be as much of a priority for an Attorney General Sessions as it has been for the Obama Justice Department. In this Justice Department, they've opened over 24 investigations into police departments across the country, most of which are currently carrying out those consent decrees, those agreements to carry out reforms. Now, Senator Sessions indicated that he would leave those court-enforceable agreements alone. He would leave them in place. But it's not clear what he would do in a city like Chicago, where he will have this extensive report but no legally enforceable agreement. He testified at his confirmation hearing that his concern was that he didn't want a whole police department to be maligned for the actions of a few bad officers. So it remains to be seen what he will do with this report. At this point, though, since none of us have seen it yet, it's really hard to say specifically what kind of options he will have on the table.
All right, Paula Reid in Washington. Paula, thanks.